The first time I ever did yoga was when I was 18 years old. My sister and I had just been experimenting with raw vegan foods, and we were learning about new forms of exercise, and we thought yoga would go perfectly with raw vegan foods, and we tried it out at YogaWorks, and I liked it. I mean, I didn't really, I knew I was doing it because I knew it was good for me, but I really just thought of it as like a type of stretching. You should know, as a background, I really have never been very naturally athletic. I tried a lot of sports as a kid. I did gymnastics pretty religiously. I was obsessed with getting on team with the gymnastics, and I never could because I was just not naturally very athletic. When I got to junior high and high school, I really only did cheerleading, and I was the captain, as you can imagine. I don't know, I've never been very good at sports. So when I got into like college, I just never really exercised. I would try to exercise, and I didn't really know how. I didn't know what to do. So yoga to me was just like stretching. I didn't really see it as a form of real exercise or a way to gain muscle. Flash forward 9 years later about, I started doing yoga every day, and the reason I was able to do that was because my friend Michelle started a website called Thriving Plant Based, which I have talked about probably a zillion times. I'm sorry if you get tired of me talking about it, but you know, it's just been like a huge part of my yoga journey. Up until that point, I really had only done small amounts of yoga because I would join like a beginner package at a studio and do yoga pretty consistently for 2 weeks, and I would stop because studios are so expensive, and this website is only $10 a month for unlimited yoga classes, and you get to do them at your own convenience at home. You could do them in your underwear, which I definitely do almost all the time, and you can work on things at your own pace, and you can really focus on something that you want to do. You could do like a bunch of backbending videos that week. Just to explain, when I say I do yoga every day, it doesn't mean I'm doing an hour class every single day. I wish I could do that, but ultimately what it comes down to is I do something every day in terms of yoga. I started doing this because of Michelle, because of her encouragement, the like hashtag yoga every damn day, and I'm a very extreme person, so I really love the idea of like I have to do it every day, not like do something in moderation. I'm not a moderate type of person, so it really spoke to me, and it made a lot of sense to me to just get on my mat every day. I can do that rather than every other day. That for some reason that's more daunting. I don't understand my brain. So I may get on my mat for 2 minutes and just like sit there and meditate, or I'll sit there in like a forward fold or something if I don't have any time. But if I do have time, and I really do try to make time, I'll do 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the type of like video that I choose. So most of the time I'm doing an hour a day, but not all the time. Let's get to the point. Since I started doing yoga every single day for almost a year, no, more than a year. For more than a year, I have seen amazing things that happened in my life that I never even expected. Because remember, I really just looked at yoga as stretching. I just never even anticipated these things, so it's so exciting to see. The first thing that I noticed was my physical strength, and I was like actually getting toned from an exercise. Just before doing yoga, I used to really focus on like the high intensity training, which I know works for a lot of people. It's just like not my thing because I don't like being uncomfortable, and I don't like doing a bunch of squats and a bunch of sit-ups and stuff, so I didn't love it, and I think that's really the reason I didn't experience the benefits of it. I think that the reason I'm experiencing physical benefits from yoga is because I love it and I want to get on my mat, and I actually want to practice and get better, and it's not just like, can you do a bunch of burpees? It's like, can you get into this one side plank with your leg raised? Nope, can't do that, but I'm gonna try. I noticed that I had like tone, like my arms are getting toned, and that was the first thing I noticed because I never in my life had shape to my arms. Like, that was just crazy to me. I was like a little obnoxious to my friends because I'd be like, check out my arms, I have muscles, like so excited. And they would be like, okay, oh my gosh, you're like literally bragging about your body. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm so excited. Then the other thing I noticed is like that I actually have like some abs, because I never really had that before. And like I have like strength in my core, and I could hold plank for pretty much ever, which, you know, never could do that before. The second and probably the most powerful thing that I noticed, it's something that's not as tangible as like muscles in my arms or anything, was that I was more creative. And this is something that's really, really important to me. If you know me at all, you know it's like something that I talk about all the time. I always strive to live a more creative and inspired life. And when I was a kid, I wrote songs and stories. My first story was about a whale. And, you know, like growing up, I'm just like super creative because I'm like a child and I don't know any different and I don't have a filter and I can just say whatever I want and I'm not afraid to make mistakes. But then as I went to college, I really started to hone my skills. I was taking creative writing classes. I worked on a screenplay. I wrote dozens of short stories. And then ultimately, I wanted to write a novel. So this was just a few years ago. It was my very first time, and I love reading novels, so I was so excited, but it was such a struggle for me. I was so blocked because I wasn't exercising my creative muscle the way I used to. I wasn't inspired. Nothing made me, I wasn't writing things down in the middle of the day. I didn't have a little notebook in the back of my pocket, like, so inspired by everything. Like, that just wasn't happening for me. I just was, like, blocked. It felt physical almost. It felt like I was closed. And then, I don't want to get too emotional, but like, I started doing yoga every day, and I remember this one night driving home down the hill, pulling into our parking lot, thinking, like, just being inspired by 15 things at once and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm back. And I really account that to yoga, and I remember I put something on Snapchat like, whoa guys, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm so, like my creativity has been unleashed and I feel like open, like I can breathe again, and that like, it's like a physical thing, but it's also a spiritual thing, like I'm breathing, like my emotional muscles are just like working again. And then writing became so much more fluid and easy, and I got so many different ideas. I started a bunch of different novels and now I'm working on another one. Yeah, basically what I want to say is that I don't know why, and maybe someone with more knowledge about the yogic practice can explain why this happened to me, but when I started doing yoga every single day, not sporadically, but every single day, my chakras, maybe, something like that, something opened up in me and I became a more creative person, and it wasn't like I was just channeling creativity myself, like by my own willpower. It was like things started coming at me, like my podcast got started, I started a pop-up dinner, and like all these different people started coming into my life to spur on more creativity, which I will never say no to. The third thing is even more abstract. Okay, as a woman, you know, most of us have like insecurities and we're like not very aware of our bodies in a way that is a positive thing, and we might not love our bodies the way we should. I don't know why. A lot of these things, I don't know why. Once I started doing yoga every day, I became so much more conscious about my body. Like the way a dancer is very conscious, like their shoulders are back and they know where they step more lightly, they are just more in tune with the way they move. That's kind of what I started to experience, and I've become so much more like open with my body. Like I don't care anymore if, I don't know, if I'm like a little too exposed or something, because I just feel like I love myself so much and this is my body and it's not anyone to tell me how I dress myself. Not like I'm dressing like very, what's the word? Promiscuously. I became more aware of what this body can do for me and how I can actually love my body and not hate it for stupid things like, oh, I've got ripples on my butt. Like, who cares? Love your body because it's the only one you've got. Number 4. It might not seem like it, but I'm a pretty emotional person. You probably can't tell. I tend to have a bit of a temper. I will admit it. I'm that person who will have a fight with either my sister or my husband or my mom in public and like yell, and they're like, stop yelling, you're making a scene, and I'm like, I don't care, but then later I'm so embarrassed. However, when I started doing yoga every day, my temper has become so much more manageable and more just even, and I I mean, my husband might disagree, but I don't think that I really just snap anymore very much. Like, it's like I'm just able to really control myself a little bit more and speak with intention rather than speaking out of pure emotional volatile reaction. I'm actually speaking with the words that I want to say. And then also on top of that, I've been able to react to situations so much more neutrally. Like, if something bad happens, I'm not like, oh my gosh, my life is over. It's more like, oh, this has happened. What can I do to fix it? Or how can I wait patiently for God or the universe or whatever you want to call it supplies that to me. The best example is about 6 weeks ago, I was told at my job at Long Beach City College that I might not have a job in the following term, and the following term was that Monday, so I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I might not have a job. And I came home and I just thought, okay, not a big deal. This happens all the time to people across the world. I wasn't worried, mostly because we're not living paycheck to paycheck. Like, we have enough saved that we'll be okay, you know? But of course, I need to work. So that day, I started looking for jobs. I started looking for work. And I found a job within, I think, a week. And it's a much better job than what I have. And it's a job with more opportunity, and I love my job at Long Beach City. I love the people I work with. I wish I could work there forever, but unfortunately, I mean, I really do need to like get paid more, basically. This is a better job for me. It's a really wonderful environment. I love the people I'm working with. And like the following day that I got an interview at this university that I'm working at now, a past colleague of mine texted me and said, "Do you need a job?" And I was like, actually, yes, and she recommended me to another job up in LA. Essentially, I had jobs coming at me all over the place, and I just there was no point to react in an extreme way because it was going to happen. The fifth thing, and this is probably not, honestly, like the least important thing to me, this is that I don't like using these words, but basically I've gotten better at yoga. This might be something that a lot of people are interested in, like, oh, how do I become like Michelle? Michelle's Banana Blondie 108 on Instagram, and her Instagram is just like gorgeous. Like, she's like, you know, 50% of her comments are like goals, 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 because she looks amazing, and her practice is just beautiful, and she can do things that I can't even imagine doing. That might seem like an aspiration for a lot of people, but it was my aspiration in the beginning, and now I have been able to do more things than I was able to do in the beginning, but it's like the least important thing to me compared to the 4 other things on this list, because like, so what? You can stand on your head for 5 minutes. So what? Like, that doesn't really change your life, but it's the practice of it and the moving meditation of it that has completely revitalized me. It's really cool that's like I've been able to improve in certain ways. I've become more flexible. I can do the splits again. There are certain arm balances I can do. You know, it's like I don't even think about those things in terms of like accomplishments. It's more just part of the practice, and it's so beautiful, and I love it, and I love every minute of it, and I love the challenges, and I love the whole process. I love all of it, and learning to love all of it helps me to love all of life. Like, embrace all of it, embrace all of the heartache and all of the pain. I've gone through a lot this year. Whoa, getting emotional again. This practice has helped me to really embrace it all, embrace the feelings, and not be afraid of those feelings and afraid of the challenges that you get. I'm finishing this video. Honestly, I turned the fan off and closed the windows, and I'm sweating bullets over here. You can see the sweat on my face. Isn't it great? I don't know how to end my video, so I'm just gonna say bye. Bye!